Hi and welcome back to My Nana's Apron. Today we're going to be making gravy. Now I started to make this recipe for you making turkey gravy. And I thought, why don't I just show it for every gravy? I mean, who says it has to be turkey? It could be chicken, it could be beef, it could be pork. Whatever you want to make it. So I just made regular gravy, gluten-free, dairy-free, so everybody can eat it, and I'll show you how it's done. Okay, first of all I'm going to take 6 tablespoons of butter, and this is actually plant-based butter. I was going to do 8, but I'm thinking that was too much. So I'm going to get this in here, starting to melt. Okay, we're going to melt this up, and then we're going to add the flour. Now I'm using gluten-free flour. It's my brand that I like is Pillsbury. You can use Bob's. You can use any one that you're partial to. And because we have 6 tablespoons of butter, we need 6 tablespoons of flour. And what I'm going to do is start sprinkling this over the top. Actually, I messed up. I started with 4 tablespoons, and I said 6. But 4 tablespoons of butter to 4 tablespoons of flour. Now, the reason I'm not doing 6 is because I think that would be too hard to mix up. Plus, it's going to be too thick. I'm going to let this bubble for a few minutes. This is not like gluten flour to where you can make a roux. Well, you can, but it doesn't need to bubble like gluten flour because it doesn't have that wheat flour taste. Another good thing about this gluten-free flour is, let's say I wanted to thicken it some more, but I wanted to use the gluten-free flour. You can add the dry flour to wet liquid, and it doesn't do like wheat flour where it clumps up. So now I have some seasonings to go in. I have a teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning, a teaspoon of black pepper, and 2 bay leaves. I'm going to get that in there. This is an easy gravy that you can make with anything. Today I'm making turkey. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting the liquid in there now, a little bit at a time. We get it in there, we start stirring. Now it's going to be lumpy at first, but believe me, these lumps will come out. I'm using 4 cups of turkey stock, and you can buy that over the counter. Pacific Foods has turkey, but if you get to the point where it's too close to Thanksgiving, just use chicken broth or stock. And if the worst gets to worst, you can use a dairy-free milk, or just half and half water and milk. It's starting to thicken up already. Oh, I forgot, I'm going to add a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. On my last gravy that I made, when I made my own stock back in the day, that was a couple years ago, right when COVID was rampant. I went to the trouble of making my own roasted turkey wings in the oven, and then I made stock out of them. And wouldn't you know it, we didn't have Thanksgiving that year because of COVID. So I'm just going to do the short thing where I'm using over-the-counter chicken stock or broth. But if you have your own homemade, that's fine too. Okay, now we need to let this come to a boil. Small boil, simmer. See how the lumps are starting to get out of it already? On my other gravy I made, I used Dijon mustard in it. And that came out good too, but I'm using Worcestershire sauce this time. Okay, we're going to let this come up to a boil. We don't want to burn it, but we're going to let those flavors get together. I'll be back when I show you what it looks like. Now at this point you can put it in your refrigerator, freeze it. I had to freeze it that year that we didn't have Thanksgiving, and it lasted the whole year in the freezer. This is still a little bit thin for me, and so I'm going to start taking out the bay leaves. I put 2 in, so I take 2 out. And any lumps you see, you can stir it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more flour. Now, as I said, it doesn't have to cook like wheat flour. Because it doesn't have that wheat flour taste. That was about almost a tablespoon. Let me get this in here. Now if you have a whisk, you can use that. I just get in there and stir it real good. Now it's by the time I'm done, it may not be thick enough for your taste, but I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. Thanksgiving is 2 days away, and I'm going to take it out on the day, and I'm going to warm it up on the stove and add some milk to it, or yeah, I think milk, or even some chicken stock to it, depending on how thick it is. And then we have gravy. Okay, as you can see when I was making my gravy, I'm going to give you a kitchen tip. It did have a little bit of lumps in it. So if you're in that predicament and you have some lumps in your gravy, all you need to do is put it through a sieve. So I'm going to do that right now. And this will take out the rest of your lumps. Now, when you left, I did taste it. That's the key. Because you don't want your guests tasting gravy that's not very good. So I added a pinch of salt. Because if you notice, I didn't put any salt in it earlier because the stalks and everything have salt in them. And so I added that. I added a half a teaspoon more of the poultry season. So that'll make 1 teaspoon for the recipe. And I did add, well, I didn't add any more flour. So I hope you like this recipe. It's beautiful now with all the lumps out. And as you can see, that's what we got. Now I did take out a lot of my pepper when I sieved it, so you might want to add some more back in if you like pepper. So I kept it mild and easy, and I hope you like this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel. Hope you tell your friends about it, and I hope you are kind to people this Christmas, because our whole world is in an uproar and some people can't eat. So be kind to your food banks and your neighbors and the toy drives and everything like that. See you later. Bye.